In the quiet emptiness of space where stars twinkled like distant lanterns, something strange happened. A ripple appeared in the darkness, a tear in the fabric of reality that no one could explain. From this rip emerged a massive ship, its sleek, metal surface glinting under the faint light of faraway suns. It was unlike anything anyone had ever seen before. The ship was human-made, and it floated silently in the heart of the Imperial Dominion, a vast empire ruled by aliens who thought they were the greatest power in the galaxy. The ship's name was the Invincible Dawn. On its side, bold letters spelled out words in a language that most beings in the Empire hadn't heard for centuries, English. For a moment there was silence across the Empire's communication networks. Then came the broadcast. A calm, steady voice spoke from the ship, repeating the same message over and over again. "This is Commander Ryan Carter of the Invincible Dawn. We come in peace, but will defend ourselves if necessary." No one knew what to make of it. Was this some kind of trick? A ghost ship from the past? Or maybe even gods returning to judge them? The Empire's leaders scrambled to figure out what was going on. One thing was certain. This unexpected arrival had thrown their world into chaos. On board the Invincible Dawn, Commander Ryan Carter stood tall on the bridge, his sharp blue eyes scanning the screens around him. He wasn't surprised by the confusion he saw outside. In fact, he expected it. His mission was simple yet dangerous. Find out why humanity had disappeared from the galaxy and reclaim what was lost. Beside him, Lieutenant Laura Hayes worked quickly at her station, trying to decode signals coming from the Empire. She was smart, quick-thinking, and always ready with an answer. Her hands moved swiftly over the holographic controls as she listened, intently to the chatter filling the airwaves. Chief Engineer Daniel Brooks was also on the bridge, monitoring the ship's systems. He was a practical man, someone who preferred machines to people, but he understood how important this moment was. This wasn't just about survival, it was about proving that humanity still had a place in the universe. Back in the Empire, news of the mysterious ship spread like wildfire. Emperor Cale Vorn sat on his golden throne, his face twisted in anger and disbelief. How could this happen? His empire stretched across hundreds of star systems, and yet here was a single human ship appearing out of nowhere, defying everything they knew. Around him, advisors whispered nervously, offering suggestions but none brave enough to speak too loudly. Kyle raised a hand to silence them all. "Find out who they are," he ordered coldly, "and destroy them if you must." Admiral Jax Norin, commander of the Imperial fleet, took charge of the situation. He was proud and arrogant, used to getting his way through sheer force. When he heard about the human ship, his first reaction was disbelief, followed by fury. Humans? They were supposed to be extinct. Yet here they were, floating right in front of him, daring to challenge the might of the Empire. Jax clenched his fists and gave the order to send a squadron of fighter drones toward the Invincible Dawn. If these humans wanted a fight, they would get one. Ryan watched the incoming drones on the tactical display. They looked small compared to his warship, almost like insects buzzing around a giant. But he didn't underestimate them. These aliens were advanced, and their weapons could still pose a threat. "Prepare for combat," he said calmly, his voice carrying authority without raising it. The crew sprang into action, each person knowing exactly what to do. Laura relayed coordinates to the gunners, while Daniel ensured the ship's shields were fully operational. Within moments, railguns mounted along the sides of the Invincible Dawn roared to life, firing projectiles faster than sound itself. The drones exploded one after another, unable to withstand the barrage. Energy beams shot back from the remaining drones, striking the warship's shields, but they barely made a dent. Humanity's technology was far superior to anything the Empire had. Jax watched in horror as his squadron was wiped out within minutes. His pride stung worse than any physical wound. He gritted his teeth and barked orders to retreat, vowing revenge. But deep down, he felt a flicker of fear. What if this was only the beginning? What if more ships like this one existed? While the battle raged, rumors began spreading throughout the Empire. Some believed the humans were ancient protectors, sent to restore balance to the galaxy. Others thought they were conquerors, here to take what little remained of the Empire's crumbling glory. Public squares buzzed with speculation, and holoscreens displayed endless debates about the meaning of the humans' arrival. Lady Elena Drake, a cunning noblewoman known for her sharp mind, saw an opportunity. She approached Emperor Kale with a plan. "Send emissaries to their ship," she suggested smoothly. "Pretend we want peace. Use the chance to learn more about them, and perhaps turn them against themselves." Kale nodded slowly, liking the idea. Anything to buy time and regain control of the situation. As preparations began for the diplomatic mission, Ryan and his crew remained vigilant. They knew better than to trust the Empire. Laura intercepted encrypted messages hinting at treachery, and Daniel double-checked every system to ensure nothing could go wrong. Still, Ryan couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the start of something much bigger. For now, though, they had won the first round. The Imperial fleet had been humiliated and the humans had proven their strength. But Ryan understood that battles weren't won with firepower alone. This was a game of wits, strategy, and patience, and he intended to play it well. Far away, on planets orbiting distant stars, ordinary citizens looked up at the night sky, wondering what the future held. Would the humans bring salvation or destruction? No one knew for sure. All they could do was wait and hope. And so, the invincible dawn hovered silently in the void, a symbol of both promise and peril. Its crew prepared for whatever came next, knowing full well that the galaxy would never be the same again. The silence in space was broken once again, but this time it wasn't by weapons fire. It was by words, carefully chosen and deliberately calm. Commander Ryan Carter stood on the bridge of the Invincible Dawn, his hands resting lightly on the carrier control panel as he stared at the tactical display. The Imperial fleet had retreated after their failed attack, leaving behind only questions and tension. Now, Ryan decided it was time to try a different approach. "Send another broadcast," he said firmly. "Let them know we're not here to conquer. We're here to talk." Lieutenant Laura Hayes nodded and adjusted the ship's communication system. She translated parts of the message into the dominant galactic language, hoping to make their intentions clear. The broadcast went out across the Empire, echoing through countless star systems. "To the people of the Imperial Dominion," Ryan's voice rang out, steady and measured. "We are humans, descendants of those who once lived among you. We seek no conflict, but we will defend ourselves if provoked. If your leaders wish to speak with us, we are willing to listen." The Empire reacted with confusion. Some believed the humans' words. Others dismissed them as lies. But one thing was certain. The arrival of the Invincible Dawn had shaken the foundation of the Empire to its core. Public squares buzzed with debate, and holoscreens displayed endless arguments about whether the humans were friends or foes. Emperor Kale Vorn sat in his throne room, his face dark with frustration. He didn't like being challenged, especially not by beings he considered inferior. Lady Elena Drake watched the Emperor closely. She was a clever woman, always thinking several steps ahead. Her sharp green eyes scanned the faces of the advisors gathered around Kale, gauging their reactions. When the Emperor finally spoke, his voice was cold and commanding. "Prepare a delegation," he ordered. "We'll meet them aboard their ship. Pretend we want peace, but use the opportunity to learn everything you can." Elena stepped forward, volunteering to lead the mission. She knew how to play games of deception better than anyone else in the Empire. Two trusted aides joined her. Captain Marcus Cole, a seasoned officer with a reputation for loyalty, and Dr. Sophia Lane, a brilliant scientist skilled in analyzing alien technology. Together, they boarded a small shuttle and set course for the Invincible Dawn. As their shuttle approached the human warship, Elena felt a mix of awe and unease. The ship was enormous, far larger than she had imagined. Its sleek design and glowing energy shields made it look almost otherworldly. When the shuttle docked, the delegation was greeted by Ryan and a small group of his crew. Laura stood beside him, her expression neutral but alert. Chief Engineer Daniel Brooks lingered nearby, his arms crossed as he studied the visitors carefully. "Welcome aboard," Ryan said, his tone polite but cautious. "I'm Commander Ryan Carter. This is Lieutenant Laura Hayes and Chief Engineer Daniel Brooks." He gestured toward each of them in turn before turning his attention back to the delegation. "And you are?" Elena stepped forward, her smile warm but calculated. "I am Lady Elena Drake, advisor to Emperor Cale Vorn. These are my colleagues, Captain Marcus Cole and Dr. Sophia Lane. We thank you for allowing us to come aboard." The meeting took place in a spacious conference room within the Invincible Dawn. The walls were lined with screens displaying real-time data from the ship's sensors. A long table separated the humans from their guests, creating a physical barrier that mirrored the distrust between them. Ryan began by explaining their purpose. "We're here because humanity has returned to reclaim its place in the galaxy. We don't seek to destroy the Empire, but we won't tolerate aggression either." Elena listened intently, nodding occasionally as if she agreed, but her mind was racing, searching for weaknesses she could exploit. She noticed how Ryan's gaze shifted slightly when he mentioned reclaiming humanity's place. Was there doubt in his voice? Could the humans be divided? She decided to test the waters. "Commander Carter," she said smoothly, "it's remarkable that your kind has survived all these years. But tell me, do all humans share your vision? Or are there differences of opinion?" Ryan's expression didn't change, but Laura shot Elena a sharp look. The question was clearly designed to provoke, and they both knew it. "Our mission is unified," Ryan replied evenly. "Every member of this crew shares the same goal, to restore humanity's legacy." Elena smiled faintly, unconvinced. She turned her attention to Laura, sensing that the lieutenant might be more vulnerable to pressure. "Lieutenant Hayes," she said, her voice softening, "surely you must feel some uncertainty. After all, humanity has been absent from the galaxy for so long. How do you decide what belongs to you and what doesn't?" Laura hesitated for a fraction of a second before answering. "We follow orders," she said simply, "and our orders are clear." The exchange did not go unnoticed by Marcus. As he observed the interaction, he found himself wondering if Elena's words held any truth. Were the humans truly united, or was there discord beneath the surface? He didn't voice his thoughts, but the seed of doubt had been planted. Back on the Imperial homeworld, news of the meeting spread quickly. Propaganda machines worked overtime, spinning tales of human arrogance and hidden agendas. Some claimed the humans were gods, returning to punish the Empire for past sins. Others argued they were invaders seeking to enslave the galaxy. The conflicting stories only added to the chaos, fueling unrest among the Empire's citizens. Emperor Cale grew increasingly agitated as reports poured in. His grip on power was slipping, and he knew it. Advisors whispered warnings about rebellion, urging him to act decisively. But Cale was unsure what to do. Attacking the humans again seemed foolish after their earlier defeat, yet doing nothing felt like weakness. He turned to Elena for guidance. "We need to divide them," Elena advised. "If we can create discord within their ranks, they'll crumble from within, use their own doubts against them." Kyle nodded slowly, liking the idea. "Do whatever it takes," he said. "But be careful. These humans are dangerous." Meanwhile, aboard the Invincible Dawn, tensions simmered, just below the surface. Ryan called a private meeting with his senior staff to discuss the delegation's visit. "They're trying to manipulate us," he warned. "Be on guard. Don't let them get inside your heads." Laura nodded, her usual confidence wavering slightly. "She's good," she admitted. "Elena knows exactly what buttons to push." Daniel snorted. "Let her try. She won't find anything to use against us." Ryan appreciated their determination, but he couldn't shake the feeling that trouble was brewing. The Empire was desperate, and desperate beings often resorted to desperate measures. Still, he refused to let fear dictate his actions. Humanity had come too far to back down now. Days passed, and the Empire's propaganda campaign intensified. Holoscreens across the galaxy showed edited clips of the meeting aboard the Invincible Dawn, highlighting moments where Ryan or Laura appeared hesitant. The Empire's media outlets twisted their words, painting the humans as arrogant and untrustworthy. Protests erupted on several planets, with crowds shouting slogans both for and against the newcomers. Amidst the growing turmoil, Elena continued to work her plan. She subtly hinted at divisions within the human crew during private conversations with Marcus and Sophia. "Think about it," she said one evening, lowering her voice conspiratorially. "If they're truly united, why does their commander seem so defensive? Why does their engineer avoid answering direct questions? There's something they're hiding, and we need to find out what it is." Marcus frowned, torn between loyalty and suspicion. He wanted to believe in Ryan's leadership, but Elena's words gnawed at him. What if she was right? What if the humans weren't as strong as they seemed? Sophia, meanwhile, focused on studying the ship's technology. She marveled at its sophistication, realizing that humanity's advancements far surpassed anything the Empire possessed. Yet even she couldn't ignore the political implications of Elena's strategy. If the humans could be turned against each other, the Empire might stand a chance. As the days stretched into weeks, the situation grew more volatile. The Empire teetered on the brink of collapse, its citizens divided and uncertain. And aboard the Invincible Dawn, Ryan and his crew prepared for whatever came next, knowing full well that the battle for the galaxy's future was far from over. Tensions aboard the Invincible Dawn were rising, though no one spoke of it openly. Commander Ryan Carter moved through the ship with purpose, his sharp eyes scanning every corner as if searching for something he couldn't quite name. The meeting with the Imperial delegation had left a mark, not just on him but on the entire crew. Lieutenant Laura Hayes seemed quieter than usual, her usual confidence replaced by a subtle unease. Chief Engineer Daniel Brooks, ever practical, spent more time in the engine room, tinkering with systems that didn't need fixing. Everyone felt it, the weight of uncertainty pressing down on them. Back on the Imperial homeworld, Lady Elena Drake watched the chaos unfold with quiet satisfaction. Her plan was working better than she had hoped. Propaganda machines churned, out-edited clips of the meeting aboard the Invincible Dawn, twisting words and exaggerating pauses to make the humans appear divided and untrustworthy. Crowds gathered in public squares shouting slogans both for and against the newcomers. Some called the humans saviors, others labeled them invaders. The Empire's citizens were confused, angry, and scared, exactly how Elena wanted them. Emperor Cale Vorn sat in his throne room, his face pale with frustration. He hated losing control, and right now he felt like he was losing everything. His advisors whispered nervously around him, offering suggestions he barely heard. The humans had humiliated his fleet, and now they were tearing his empire apart from within. "What do we do?" one advisor asked timidly. Kyle glared at him, his voice cold. "We wait," he snapped, "and we prepare." Elena, however, wasn't content to wait. She knew time was running out. If the humans solidified their position, the Empire would crumble completely. She needed to act quickly. That evening, she met privately with Captain Marcus Cole and Dr. Sophia Lane. "We need to push harder," she said, her voice low but urgent. "The humans are strong, yes, but they're not invincible. We've seen cracks in their armor. Now we exploit them." Marcus frowned, his loyalty torn between duty and doubt. He respected Ryan and believed in the mission, but Elena's words lingered in his mind. What if she was right? What if the humans weren't as united as they claimed? He nodded slowly, unsure of what else to do. Sophia, meanwhile, focused on the technical side of things. "If we can find a weakness in their technology," she suggested, "we might be able to use it against them." While the Empire plotted, life aboard the Invincible Dawn continued, though the atmosphere had shifted. Laura noticed small changes in the crew's behavior. Conversations grew shorter, smiles rarer. Even Ryan seemed more distant, spending long hours alone on the bridge. One evening, she approached him cautiously. "Ryan," she said softly, "is everything okay?" He glanced at her, his expression unreadable. "Everything's fine," he replied, though his tone suggested otherwise. Laura hesitated, then decided to press further. "You've been quiet lately. Is there something you're not telling us?" Ryan sighed, leaning back in his chair. For a moment he considered brushing her off, but he knew she deserved honesty. "I'm worried," he admitted. "Not about the Empire, they're predictable. I'm worried about us, about whether we're truly ready for this." Laura blinked, surprised by his candor. "We've come this far," she said firmly. "We've faced worse." "Have we?" Ryan countered. "This isn't just about fighting. It's about trust. If the crew starts doubting each other, we're finished." His words struck a chord with Laura. She realized he wasn't just talking about external threats. He was afraid of division within their ranks. "Do you think someone's trying to turn us against each other?" she asked. "I know they are," Ryan said grimly. "That's why we have to stay vigilant. No matter what happens, we stick together." Unbeknownst to them, Marcus was grappling with similar thoughts. Since the meeting with Elena, her words had haunted him. Was Ryan hiding something? Was the mission truly unified, or were there secrets beneath the surface? He tried to dismiss the doubts, but they kept creeping back. One night, unable to sleep, he wandered into the mess hall and found Daniel sitting alone, sipping coffee. "You look like you got something on your mind," Daniel said, glancing up. Marcus hesitated, then sat down across from him. "Do you ever wonder?" he began, trailing off. "Do you ever wonder if we're doing the right thing?" Daniel raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" "I mean, how do we know Ryan's telling us everything? How do we know this mission isn't just another power grab?" Daniel set his cup down, his expression hardening. "Listen to me," he said firmly. "Ryan's a good leader. He's gotten us this far, and he's done it without lying to us. If you've got doubts, talk to him. Don't let them fester." Marcus nodded, though he still felt uneasy. He wanted to believe Daniel, but the questions wouldn't go away. Meanwhile, back in the Empire, Elena put the final pieces of her plan into motion. Using footage from the meeting aboard the Invincible Dawn, she created a new broadcast designed to sow discord among the human crew. Clips of Ryan hesitating, Laura pausing mid-sentence, and Daniel avoiding direct answers were spliced together to create the illusion of internal conflict. The message ended with a simple statement. "Are these the leaders you trust, or are they hiding the truth from you?" When the broadcast reached the Invincible Dawn, it hit like a storm. Screens throughout the ship flickered to life, displaying the propaganda. Crew members stopped what they were doing, staring in shock at the images. Some dismissed it as lies, but others weren't so sure. Whispers spread through the corridors, and for the first time since their mission began, cracks appeared in the crew's unity. Ryan called an emergency meeting in the conference room. The mood was tense as the crew filed in, their faces reflecting a mix of anger and confusion. Ryan stood at the head of the table, his expression calm but serious. "I know what you've seen," he said, addressing the room. "And I know it's meant to divide us, but let me be clear. We are stronger together. If anyone has doubts, speak now. This is the time for honesty." For a moment, no one said anything. Then Marcus stood up, his hands clenched into fists. "I've got doubts," he admitted, his voice trembling. "I don't know what's true anymore. Are we really united, or are we just following orders blindly?" The room fell silent. Laura looked at Ryan, her heart pounding. She expected him to snap, to shut Marcus down with authority. Instead, he nodded slowly. "It's okay to have doubts," he said. "But remember this. Our mission isn't about me or any one person. It's about humanity. We've been given a chance to reclaim our place in the galaxy, to show the universe that we're not just survivors, we're builders. If you don't trust me, trust that." His words hung in the air, heavy but honest. One by one, the crew began to nod. Marcus sat back down, his doubts still lingering but tempered by Ryan's sincerity. Laura felt a wave of relief wash over her. They weren't perfect, but they were still a team. Elena watched the aftermath of her broadcast from afar, frustrated but undeterred. She hadn't broken the humans completely, but she had planted seeds of doubt. That was enough, for now. They're resilient, she muttered to herself. But resilience only goes so far. As days turned into weeks, the Empire's situation grew increasingly unstable. Protests erupted on multiple planets, some demanding peace with the humans, others calling for war. Regional governors began asserting independence, ignoring orders from the imperial capital. Emperor Kale Vorn's grip on power weakened with each passing day. Aboard the Invincible Dawn, the crew worked to repair the damage caused by the propaganda. Laura proposed a counter-broadcast, using recovered data to tell the truth about humanity's history in the galaxy. "Let's show them who we really are," she said. "Not conquerors, but survivors." Ryan agreed, seeing it as their best chance to win hearts and minds. Together they crafted a message that would reach every corner of the Empire, hoping to turn the tide in their favor. As the galaxy teetered on the edge of change, one thing was certain: the battle for the future was far from over. And aboard the Invincible Dawn, humanity stood ready to fight, not just for survival, but for hope. The broadcast went live and the galaxy held its breath. Lieutenant Laura Hayes had worked tirelessly to craft a message that would resonate with both the Empire's rulers and its citizens. The transmission began with images of Earth, its blue, oceans, sprawling cities, and lush forests. A calm voice narrated, telling the story of humanity's rise, fall, and eventual return. "We are not invaders," the voice said. "We are survivors. Once we thrived in this galaxy, building civilizations alongside your ancestors, but we were driven to extinction by those who feared our strength and creativity. Now we have returned, not to take revenge, but to rebuild what was lost." The message ended with Commander Ryan Carter appearing on screen. His face was calm, but firm, his eyes steady as he spoke directly to the Empire's people. "We do not seek to rule you. We seek to unite with you. Together we can create a future where no one lives in fear or oppression. But the choice is yours." The impact was immediate. On planets across the Empire, crowds gathered around holoscreens, listening intently. Some cheered, inspired by the vision of hope and unity. Others remained skeptical, their trust in authority shaken by years of imperial rule. In the imperial capital, Emperor Kale Vorn watched the broadcast with growing rage. His advisors whispered nervously, unsure how to respond. Admiral Jax Norin clenched his fists, furious at the humans' audacity. "They think they can sway the people with pretty words?" he growled. "We'll show them." But not everyone in the Empire shared Jax's anger. Lady Elena Drake sat quietly in her quarters, her sharp mind analyzing the situation. She had expected the humans to fight back with propaganda, but she hadn't anticipated how effective it would be. The seed of rebellion was already growing within the Empire, and the humans' message watered it further. She knew the Empire couldn't afford to lose control now. They needed to strike, and strike hard. Elena approached Emperor Kale with a bold plan. "Your Majesty," she began, her voice smooth but urgent. "We must act quickly. The humans have shown their hand, but they've also revealed their greatest weakness, their faith in diplomacy. If we attack them now while they're focused on winning hearts and minds, we can catch them off guard." Kale hesitated. He hated the idea of attacking after such a public display of peace, but he saw no other way. "Do it," he said finally, "but make sure it's decisive." Admiral Jax wasted no time assembling a massive armada. This time they wouldn't rely on drones or small squadrons. Every available ship in the Imperial fleet was called to action, armed with experimental weapons designed to penetrate even the strongest shields. Among these weapons was a bioweapon, a deadly virus engineered to target specific genetic markers. It was risky, unethical, and potentially catastrophic, but Jax didn't care. All that mattered was victory. As the Armada prepared to launch, tension aboard the Invincible Dawn reached a breaking point. Laura monitored communications closely, intercepting encrypted messages from the Empire. Her face grew pale as she pieced together the plan. "Ryan," she said urgently, rushing onto the bridge, "they're coming, and they're bringing everything. They've got—" Ryan nodded grimly. He had expected another attack, but the scale of this one surprised him. "How much time do we have?" he asked. "Not enough," Laura replied. "Their fleet will be here within hours." Ryan turned to Chief Engineer Daniel Brooks. "Daniel, I need every system running at peak efficiency. Shields, weapons, propulsion, we can't afford any weaknesses." "I'm on it," Daniel said, already heading toward the engine room. The crew sprang into action, preparing for what might be their final battle. Weapons were calibrated, escape pods checked, and emergency protocols reviewed. Laura stayed glued to her station, tracking the incoming fleet. "They're using some kind of new weapon," she reported. "I don't recognize the energy signature." Ryan frowned. "Whatever it is, it's bad news. Keep an eye on it." Hours passed in a blur of activity. Finally, the moment arrived. The Imperial fleet emerged from hyperspace, surrounding the invincible Dawn like a swarm of angry insects. Jax's voice crackled over the comms. "Surrender now or face annihilation," he demanded. Ryan's response was calm but defiant. "You've already lost, Admiral. Your people don't believe in you anymore. Why throw away more lives for nothing?" Jax sneered. "Beliefs don't win wars, weapons do." The battle began with a deafening roar. Imperial ships unleashed barrages of missiles and energy beams, targeting the invincible Dawn from all sides. The human warship shuddered. Under the assault, its shields holding but straining under the pressure. Railguns fired back, destroying enemy vessels with precision. But the sheer number of attackers made it difficult to keep up. Amidst the chaos, Captain Marcus Cole struggled with his conscience. Since the meeting with Elena, doubts had gnawed at him, but now those doubts turned into guilt. Was he wrong to question Ryan? Could he truly stand by and watch his crew fight for survival while he wavered? He made his decision and rushed to the bridge. "Ryan," he said, his voice filled with urgency, "I'm sorry. I doubted you, and I was wrong. Tell me what to do." Ryan glanced at him, surprised but relieved. "Help Laura monitor the enemy's movements," he said. "We need to find their weak points." Marcus nodded and joined Laura at her station. Together they analyzed the data streaming in, searching for patterns. "Wait," Laura said suddenly, her eyes widening. "Look at this. Their lead ship. It's emitting a different energy signature than the others." Marcus leaned closer. "That must be where the bioweapon is being deployed from." "Good work," Ryan said. "Target that ship. Take it out before they can use it." The crew acted swiftly. The invincible Dawn maneuvered into position, its quantum disruptor charging for a single devastating shot. When the weapon fired, it tore through the lead ship's defenses, disabling it instantly. The bioweapon was neutralized before it could be deployed, saving countless lives. But the battle wasn't over yet. The Imperial fleet pressed on, determined to destroy the human ship. As the shields continued to weaken, Daniel noticed something alarming. "Commander," he called out, "we've got a problem. One of the auxiliary power relays has been sabotaged." Ryan's blood ran cold. Sabotage? Who would do such a thing? Before he could ask, Marcus stepped forward, his face pale. "It was me," he admitted, his voice trembling. I thought I was doing the right thing. I didn't realize." "You betrayed us?" Ryan asked, his tone icy. "No," Marcus insisted. "I planted the sabotage device, yes, but I didn't know they'd attack like this. I swear I didn't mean for anyone to get hurt." Ryan stared at him for a long moment, then turned to Daniel. "Fix it. Now." Daniel nodded and sprinted toward the damaged relay. Time seemed to slow as he worked, his hands moving with practiced precision. Around him, the ship shook violently as enemy fire pounded the hull. Finally, with seconds to spare, he managed to repair the relay. Power surged back online, stabilizing the shields just in time. With their defenses restored, the invincible Dawn launched a counterattack. Its railguns and energy cannons tore through the Imperial fleet, reducing ship after ship to flaming wreckage. Admiral Jax watched in horror as his forces crumbled. For the second time, he ordered a retreat, humiliated and defeated. When the battle ended, silence fell over the ship. Ryan turned to Marcus, his expression unreadable. "You betrayed us," he said quietly. "But you also helped stop the sabotage. Why?" Marcus swallowed hard. "Because I realized I was wrong. About everything. You're not just a leader. You're someone worth following. I won't let you down again." Ryan studied him for a moment, then nodded. "We'll deal with this later. For now, we need to focus on what comes next." Back on the Imperial homeworld, the defeat sparked outrage. Public opinion turned sharply against Emperor Kale and his advisors. Protests erupted in major cities demanding change. Regional governors declared independence, refusing to follow orders from the capital. The empire was unraveling, and there was nothing Kale could do to stop it. Lady Elena Drake watched the collapse with a mixture of despair and determination. She had failed to divide the humans, but she wasn't ready to give up. Turning to Sophia, she said, "We may have lost this round, but the war isn't over. Not yet." Aboard the Invincible Dawn, the crew took stock of their situation. They had won the battle, but the cost had been high. Trust had been broken and scars would remain, yet despite everything they were still standing. As Ryan looked out at the stars, he felt a flicker of hope. Humanity had faced its darkest hour and emerged stronger than ever. The galaxy was changing, and the Invincible Dawn stood at the center of it all. Whatever came next, they would face it together. The galaxy was in turmoil, and the Empire's collapse seemed inevitable. On the Imperial homeworld, protests grew louder, with citizens demanding freedom from Emperor Kale Vorn's oppressive rule. Regional governors declared independence one after another, forming new alliances and systems of governance. The once mighty empire was fracturing into pieces, its power crumbling under the weight of rebellion and distrust. Emperor Kale sat alone in his throne room, his face pale and drawn. He had spent decades building an empire that now lay in ruins. Advisors no longer dared to approach him, knowing his temper was as volatile as a storm. His mind raced with thoughts of revenge, but deep down, he knew it was too late. The humans had shattered not just his fleet but also his authority. For the first time in years, Kale felt powerless. Admiral Jax Norin shared the Emperor's frustration. After two crushing defeats at the hands of the Invincible Dawn, his pride was wounded beyond repair. But unlike Kale, Jax refused to give up. "We can still win this," he muttered to himself, pacing the command center of what remained of his fleet. "If we strike where they least expect it." Lady Elena Drake, however, saw the futility of further military action. She understood that brute force wouldn't work against the humans, not when their message of unity resonated so deeply with the Empire's people. Instead, she proposed a different strategy. "Your Majesty," she said to Kale during a rare meeting, "we must focus on diplomacy. The humans want peace, they've made that clear. If we negotiate, we might be able to salvage some control." Kale glared at her, his voice dripping with bitterness. "Diplomacy? You think I should bow to those invaders?" "It's not about bowing," Elena replied calmly. "It's about survival. If we don't adapt, we'll lose everything." Kyle hesitated, torn between rage and reason. Finally, he nodded. "Do what you must, but if this fails, your head will roll." Elena accepted the risk without flinching. She assembled a team to draft terms for negotiation, carefully crafting proposals that would preserve as much of the Empire's influence as possible. Meanwhile, Dr. Sophia Lane continued analyzing data collected during their visit to the Invincible Dawn. Her findings revealed something surprising. The humans' technology relied heavily on cooperation and trust. Their strength isn't just in their machines, she told Elena. It's in how they work together. This insight gave Elena an idea. Perhaps the key to undermining the humans wasn't sabotage or betrayal. It was exposing their vulnerabilities. If she could convince others that humanity's unity was fragile, she might still turn the tide. Aboard the Invincible Dawn, the mood was somber but resolute. Commander Ryan Carter called a meeting with his senior staff to discuss the aftermath of the battle. "We've won," he began, addressing the group, "but at a cost. Trust has been broken and we need to rebuild it, not just within our crew but across the galaxy." Laura Hayes nodded, her expression thoughtful. "The Empire's people are divided. Some see us as saviors, others still fear us. We need to keep showing them who we really are." Chief Engineer Daniel Brooks chimed in. "And we need to stay vigilant. The Empire's leaders won't admit defeat easily. They'll try something else, something sneaky," Ryan agreed. "Which is why we're going to do exactly what Laura suggested. Show the truth. Let's broadcast messages directly to the Empire's citizens, bypassing their rulers entirely. We'll share stories of Earth, of humanity's resilience, and of our vision for the future." The plan was put into motion immediately. Laura worked tirelessly to create a series of transmissions showcasing humanity's history, culture, and values. Footage of Earth's beauty was paired with testimonials from the crew about their hopes for the galaxy. The broadcasts were simple, yet powerful, designed to inspire rather than intimidate. As the messages spread, their impact was profound. On planets oppressed by Imperial rule, people gathered around holoscreens watching with wide eyes. Many saw hope for the first time in generations. Others, emboldened by the humans' example, joined protests calling for change. Even some Imperial officers sympathized with the humans' cause, secretly defecting to support their mission. But not everyone welcomed the broadcasts. Lady Elena Drake intercepted several transmissions, studying them closely. Though outwardly calm, she seethed with frustration. The human's message was working too well. It was uniting the very people she needed to divide. Still, she refused to give up. Turning to Marcus Cole, who had returned to the Empire after his betrayal, she offered him a chance at redemption. "You know their weaknesses better than anyone," she said. "Help us expose them." Marcus hesitated, guilt gnawing at him. He had betrayed Ryan and nearly cost the crew their lives, but he had also seen firsthand how strong humanity could be when united. Could he betray them again? Or worse, could he betray himself? Back aboard the Invincible Dawn, the crew prepared for the next phase of their mission. Ryan decided to send small teams to key planets across the galaxy, offering aid and establishing connections with local populations. Lieutenant Laura Hayes volunteered to lead one such team, accompanied by a few trusted crew members. Before departing, she approached Ryan privately. "Are you sure about this?" she asked, her voice tinged with concern. "Sending teams into hostile territory feels risky." "It is," Ryan admitted. "But we can't wait for the Empire to collapse completely. We need to build bridges now, while the opportunity exists." Laura nodded, understanding his reasoning. "Just promise me one thing," she said. "Don't let Marcus's betrayal make you doubt the rest of us. We're stronger together, that's what makes us human." Ryan smiled faintly. "I know, and I trust you, all of you. That's why I'm letting you go." On one of the Empire's outer planets, Laura's team landed in a region ravaged by poverty and oppression. The locals greeted them cautiously, unsure whether to trust these strangers. Laura stepped forward, her hands raised in a gesture of peace. "We're here to help," she said simply. No strings attached. Her sincerity won them over. Over the following days, the team distributed food, medical supplies, and tools, helping the community begin to heal. Word of their actions spread quickly, inspiring neighboring regions to reach out for assistance. Slowly but surely, the humans earned the trust of those who had once feared them. Meanwhile, back in the Empire's capital, Elena launched her counter-campaign. Using edited clips from Laura's broadcasts and fabricated testimonies from defectors like Marcus, she created a narrative portraying the humans as manipulative conquerors. "They claim to bring peace," she announced in a public address, "but their true goal is domination. Don't be fooled." The propaganda gained traction among those still loyal to the Empire, fueling resistance in certain areas. Clashes broke out between pro-human factions and Imperial loyalists, threatening to escalate into full-blown civil war. Despite the growing unrest, signs of progress emerged. Some Imperial governors reached out to the Invincible Dawn, seeking alliances and guidance. One governor, a woman named Governor Lyra Tan, openly declared her support for humanity's vision. "The old ways have failed us," she stated in a Galactic broadcast. "It's time to embrace a new path, one of cooperation and mutual respect." Her words inspired others to follow suit, accelerating the Empire's dissolution. Emperor Kale, realizing his reign was over, retreated to his private chambers, refusing to face the world. Admiral Jax attempted one final assault on the Invincible Dawn, but was thwarted before the battle even began. Defeated and humiliated, he surrendered, marking the official end of the Imperial military. As the dust settled, Ryan reflected on the journey so far. Humanity had reclaimed its place in the galaxy not through conquest but through courage and compassion, yet challenges remained. Rebuilding fractured societies, fostering unity among diverse species, and ensuring lasting peace would require patience and perseverance. Standing on the bridge of the Invincible Dawn, Ryan gazed out at the stars. "This isn't the end," he murmured to himself. "It's just the beginning." Behind him, Laura and Daniel exchanged a glance, both feeling the weight of his words. Whatever came next, they would face it together, as humans always had. The galaxy was changing faster than anyone could have imagined. The Empire's collapse had left a power vacuum, and the humans aboard the Invincible Dawn found themselves at the center of it all. Commander Ryan Carter stood on the bridge, staring out at the stars as reports poured in from across the galaxy. Some regions were thriving under newfound freedom, while others descended into chaos. It was clear that humanity's mission wasn't over. It was just beginning. Lieutenant Laura Hayes returned to the ship after her successful outreach mission, bringing with her stories of hope and resilience. "The people we met, they're ready for change," she told Ryan during their debriefing. "They just needed someone to believe in them." Ryan nodded, his expression thoughtful. "It's not enough to inspire them. We need to give them tools to build a better future. That means helping them create stable governments, fair economies, and systems that protect everyone, not just the powerful." Chief Engineer Daniel Brooks chimed in. "And we can use our technology to help. Clean energy, advanced medicine, sustainable farming. These are things we can share." Laura smiled faintly. "But we also need to be careful. If we push too hard, they might see us as conquerors instead of allies." "You're right," Ryan said. "This isn't about imposing our will. It's about guiding them toward solutions they can own." With this philosophy in mind, the crew began implementing programs to assist planets still struggling in the wake of the Empire's collapse. Teams were sent to teach locals how to harness renewable energy, grow crops efficiently, and establish democratic councils. Slowly but surely, communities began to heal, and trust in humanity grew stronger. Meanwhile, Lady Elena Drake watched these developments with growing frustration. Her attempts to discredit the humans had failed, and now even her own supporters were abandoning her cause. Governor Lyra Tan publicly denounced her propaganda, calling it divisive and destructive. "Elena Drake speaks for no one but herself," Lyra declared. "Her lies only hold us back from progress." Desperate, Elena turned to Marcus Cole once more. "You owe me," she said sharply. "If you want redemption, prove your loyalty. Sabotage their efforts. Make them look weak." Marcus hesitated, torn between guilt and fear. He had betrayed Ryan before, and the memory haunted him. But he also knew Elena wouldn't stop until she got what she wanted. Reluctantly, he agreed to help, though deep down he doubted his actions would make any difference. Back aboard the Invincible Dawn, tensions flared when reports surfaced of sabotage targeting human-led projects. Supplies went missing, equipment malfunctioned, and misinformation spread among local populations. At first, the incident seemed random, but Laura quickly identified a pattern. "It's deliberate," she told Ryan. "Someone's trying to undermine us." Ryan frowned, his jaw tightening. "Do we know who?" "Not yet," Laura admitted, "but I think we're dealing with someone who knows us well." Daniel stepped forward, his voice firm. Whoever it is, they're playing a dangerous game. If we don't stop them, they'll undo everything we've worked for. Ryan nodded. Then we find them, and fast. The investigation led them to an isolated planet where several sabotage attempts had originated. Ryan assembled a small team to investigate, including Laura and Daniel. When they arrived, they discovered evidence pointing directly to Marcus. Confronting him in an abandoned warehouse, Ryan's voice was calm but steely. Why, Marcus? After everything, why would you do this? Marcus looked away, shame written across his face. I didn't have a choice. Elena, she promised me redemption. She said if I helped her, I could fix my mistakes. And did you? Ryan asked pointedly. Or did you just make things worse? Marcus sighed, his shoulders slumping. I thought I was doing the right thing, but every step I took felt wrong. I'm sorry, Ryan, truly. Ryan studied him for a long moment, then nodded. We'll deal with this later. For now, you're coming with us. As they escorted Marcus back to the ship, Laura couldn't help but feel a pang of sympathy. He made a mistake, she said quietly to Ryan. But maybe he deserves another chance. Ryan glanced at her, his expression softening slightly. Maybe, but second chances come with responsibility. He'll have to earn ours. Word of Marcus's betrayal spread quickly through the galaxy, thanks to Elena's efforts to expose it. However, instead of turning people against the humans, the revelation had the opposite effect. Many saw Marcus's remorse as proof of humanity's capacity for forgiveness and growth. Even their betrayers seek redemption, Governor Lyra commented during a public address. That's what makes them different from us. Elena, realizing her plan had backfired spectacularly, fled the imperial capital, disappearing into the shadows. Without her influence, the remnants of the empire dissolved completely, leaving behind a patchwork of independent worlds eager to forge new alliances. In the weeks that followed, the Invincible Dawn became a symbol of unity and progress. Its crew traveled tirelessly, offering aid and guidance wherever it was needed. They worked alongside local leaders to draft constitutions, resolve disputes, and lay the groundwork for lasting peace. Humanity's message of cooperation resonated deeply, inspiring countless species to join forces in building a brighter future. One evening, as the ship orbited a newly liberated planet, Ryan gathered the crew for a rare moment of reflection. We've accomplished so much, he began, addressing the group. But there's still work to be done. This galaxy is vast and its challenges are endless. Still, I believe in us. I believe in what we stand for. Laura smiled, her eyes shining with determination. We've shown them that strength isn't about domination, it's about connection. That's something worth fighting for. Daniel nodded, adding, and we've proven that no matter how broken things seem, we can always rebuild. Ryan raised a glass, prompting the others to follow suit. To humanity, he said simply, and to the future. As cheers echoed, through the room, the Invincible Dawn prepared to depart for its next destination. Beyond the viewport, the stars twinkled brightly, each one representing a world waiting to be touched by hope. The journey ahead would be long and challenging, but Ryan and his crew faced it with unwavering resolve. For the first time in centuries, humanity had reclaimed its place in the galaxy, not as conquerors, but as builders. And as the Invincible Dawn disappeared into the void, its legacy burned brightly in the hearts of those it had inspired. The galaxy would never be the same again,